What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I want to talk about a specific setup that we have been seeing on the market quite often in the past few months as the market has picked up some steam, as there has been some more bullish action in the market. There's been a specific setup that has been popping up quite a bit and is returning some really nice gains if you catch this setup right. I've been watching this setup on a few different stocks, AMD, TSM, there's one on Tesla right now, and the one that I caught most recently, and I am still in this position up over $11,000 on this trade, is Shopify. So I want to break down this specific chart pattern, and I also want to go into detail on this Shopify swing trade that I am currently in, still holding my full position, break down why I entered, and also why I continue to maintain this position. What are the things I'm seeing on the chart that keeps me confident in holding this position further? If you guys enjoyed today's video after watching, press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So guys, this setup is not something that you haven't heard before. It's a bull flag, a weekly chart bull flag, along with a break and retest of a very key level. We've seen this on multiple stocks, and I want to break down and show you proof of this setup working out over 3 to 4 stocks. I'm sure you've seen it other places, but what I've seen, what I've watched, the stocks that I watch very closely, I've seen this happen quite often, and I'm sure some of you out there have seen this as well. So a weekly bull flag, break and retest. That means weekly chart, a bull flag, and then a break and retest of a key level. Those are 3 things that I have been seeing quite often. Let me go ahead and sort of show you the best I can what has been going on in these charts. So here's Shopify, and this is the weekly chart. And so right now, as we talk, Shopify is breaking out of a bull flag, a weekly chart bull flag. And this is also a weekly chart break and retest. So if we look at this weekly chart, this goes back pretty far. This is back all the way in 2020. We can see there was a rejection here of around this 55 level on Shopify. If we come back over, we can see this was a previous support level at 55, which then again, this is back in February of 2023, turned into a rejection right there at 55. Now, what we can see, if we zoom in here on the weekly chart, what we can see right here is that we broke above this previous high on earnings. And over the last 4 weeks, we have created a bull flag to the downside, retesting that previous breakout point. And as we speak right now, 2 days into this week, 2 days into this green candle, this weekly green candle, we are breaking out of that bull flag after a break and retest on the weekly chart. This is something that has happened quite often. If I go to AMD, there are 3 instances of this happening in a matter of 6 months. So we can see right here, we had a big breakout, we had a pullback into a bull flag, and a breakout. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so I can show you the actual break and retest levels here before I actually show you the bull flag. So we have a previous high right here, right? And we have a previous high right here. What we can see here is that we have previous highs that turned into support, right? So right here, previous high, right here. We pulled back, we broke out, we retested, we did a bull flag on the weekly chart. We held that previous high, we broke out, we pulled back. This is a bull flag. We pulled back to the previous high, and we broke out again. So you guys can see right here, these 2 instances right here are weekly chart break and retest bull flags, right? This has happened on AMD over the last few months, and they have returned fantastic returns here on AMD. It seems as though this is the way that the market is moving higher, right? You get big explosion moves, you get these multi-week pullbacks, you hold the previous high, and then you flag out of it again. You have an explosion to the upside. If you miss that move, you wait for that retest. Like you guys know, I always talk about, wait for that pullback, multi-week pullback, back into the previous high, break out of that bull flag once again. If I go to the daily chart, you can probably actually see this a little bit better. So here's the daily chart on AMD. Now, it's not always perfect, right? There's always a little bit of drama that happens at that retest level, but you can see right here, right? Previous high on AMD around 78. You had an explosion above that level. You retested it, you held it, and you bull flagged out of it. You pushed up to the upside. You pulled back. You held the previous high, and you bull flagged out of it, right? Happened twice here in a matter of the last 3 to 4 months. So a very similar setup, right? You have these break and retest, these multi-day, multi-week pullbacks. You flag out of that move, and if you can catch these moves as they start to sort of set up, as they start to hold that previous high, right? If you can start to enter maybe some swing trades as you start to hold that previous high, enter some swing trades as you hold that previous high, right? These are some really, really juicy opportunities. Another one that we did catch as a group, if you guys come to the live streams, this one we did catch as well, and this is on TSM, right? This is the same thing. This is a previous high on TSM at 83. You had a big explosion move to the upside. You had a multi-week pullback right back into that previous high, and you can see over the last 3 weeks, TSM has had a monstrous move after breaking that bull flag. So you can see a very, very similar setup. Break and retest, bull flags on the weekly chart. And when you trade on the weekly chart, you can get some very big moves, and these can be some very high percentage point swing trades. So you can see big break, pullback, bull flag, hold the previous high, breakout, right? Same exact thing. AMD, big break, pull back to the previous high, bull flag, breakout. If I go to Tesla, you are actually seeing this as we speak, and Tesla's having a pretty interesting run here in the after hours, and this could be leading to more on Tesla. It's the same exact setup. So you guys can see big breakout, retest. You're actually retesting a previous high from back here in 2020. So you can see big breakdown on Tesla, recovered on a big breakout. Over the last few weeks, we have sort of pulled back and flagged to this previous high here, held that previous high beautifully at 153, and look at the breakout that is starting here on Tesla. And in the after hours, it's up about another $2 per share, probably heading towards that 230 level up here. Another bull flag on the weekly chart that is setting up. So now that I've shown you a few of those setups, that bull flag, break, and retest on the weekly, this brings us to why I am holding Shopify and why I am so confident in this play and why I have not sold any of my call options. Typically, I would take profits, I would take some off, but I think there's a lot more here. Personally, I think there's a fantastic opportunity on Shopify up into this $78, $80 level if this bull flag weekly chart sort of play sets up, right? And I think as of right now, this week is definitely showing me signs that this is starting to set up. I still believe there's opportunity here. So we can see it's the same setup we talked about. We had a previous high, 55. We had an explosion move on earnings to the upside, and we pulled back for 4 weeks. 4 weeks of consolidation, 4 weeks of accumulation to the downside. We came back to that previous high. We held it beautifully last week on a wick to the upside. This week, you can see we had excitement to the upside. We had bullish action to the upside, and we just recently broke out of this bull flag. And the confidence that I have is what's keeping me in the play. Now, there are technical reasons I'm still in this play, and we're going to break those down in some detail. But the confidence in the trade setup is what keeps me in the play. I know that I'm looking at a bigger picture trade. I know I'm not looking at a one-day scalp, at a 2-day scalp. I know I'm looking at something that I've seen on AMD, on TSM, on Tesla, that has ran for multiple weeks. And that's why I want to be someone that stays in this play, understands that longer picture. And I'm currently in a position on Shopify risking a total of just about $5,000. If this thing goes to $80, like I'm sort of looking at here, it's about a 6-figure trade. So I'm risking $5,000 to make just about 6 figures on this trade. Of course, that would have to happen by the end of this week, which I don't really think is realistic. But if somehow Shopify ends up at 80 by Friday, I'm up $100,000. And that's why I'm looking at this bigger picture, right? I'm risking a comfortable amount. I'm not going to lose 100% of that $5,000. If I lose $2,000, if I lose $3,000, it is what it is. But I like this setup, right? That confidence in the actual longer term setup is keeping me in the play. That's step one, right? The step one is the thesis of the trade. My thesis of this trade is a break and retest on the weekly chart, a bull flag breakout, which I have seen set up some pretty major gains on some other stocks. So that step one is the thesis of the trade. And as long as that thesis is staying true, I want to continue to hold, right? I don't want to paper hand out of this trade because there's some 1-minute pullback, some 5-minute pullback. I'm looking bigger picture. A 1 minute pullback off a rejection level is not going to take me out of this trade. Now, I want to break down what has kept me in this play over the last 2 days, why I have not sold any contracts. And I'll go ahead and pull up my Interactive Brokers account right now so you can see my full position that I'm currently holding. So guys, here's my Interactive Brokers account. You guys can see real account. If it wasn't real, there'd be red things all over the place saying this is a simulation account. If you have Interactive Brokers, you know exactly what you're looking for. If you see on the right side, those are my order entry screens. You can see I bought 40 Shopify June 9th 60 calls at $1.25 back on June 2nd at pretty much at open, right? Because I was very interested in this play. I knew what I was looking for, and I didn't need anything besides, the longer term idea to get into this play. I didn't care about my specific entry. I had a longer term picture. Today, I added 20 Shopify 65 calls for next week, giving myself more time if this trade needs more time to work out at 86 cents at 9:37 today. If you look at the bottom right, you can see I'm up 203% on the June 9 60s, about $10,000. And the ones that I added today, I'm up about 84%, $1,400, $1,500 on that trade. Now, of course, like every other trade that I take, every swing trade that I take, it's in the Desi swing section in the Discord community. You guys can see back on the second, June 2nd, Shopify June 960 call. If it remains over 58.50, I maintain this play, right? And I continue to update the group. Happy with Shop. This was an update from yesterday. Update today. Update at end of day today, right? Updating the group with the swing position. This was all called out in the Discord. Congrats to you guys that took this with me. It's looking fantastic. So back here on the Shopify chart, this is the 30-minute chart. What am I seeing on this play to maintain this position, right? What am I looking for every single day to see whether this is strong, to see if I should maintain, right? I need to manage this position. I can't just let it go and forget about it if the technicals are telling me that I need to get out. But as of right now, the technicals have not shown me a single reason to exit. There has not been a single reason to exit since I've entered this position, and I need to trade off the technicals on the chart. I can't trade off emotions. I can't take profits if the chart's still saying it's going to go higher. I need to maintain this position, understand the longer term picture, and just focus on the intraday technicals to see if it's still pointing in the right direction. So here is where I entered back on Friday. And I said to the group, as long as we hold that 58 level, I want to maintain this trade. So I did get in early, and I was in some drawdown on that day, right? I think I was down about $1,500 on Friday on this trade, but I was sort of watching that 58 low, and as long as we maintain that low, I wanted to be in this trade. You can see on Friday, we held 58. We closed near that 58. Held it over the weekend. Understood that if we drop 58 on Monday, I take about a $2,000, $2,500 loss. I move on. The trade didn't work out. Monday comes along. You have a monster push off 58. Now, what happened Monday that made me swing it into today? There is one major reason, and it's the same thing that's happened today that's making me swing into tomorrow, and it is right here. And it once again is a break and retest. It happens all the time. I know I talk about it all the time, but it happens all the time, and it's something you need to be paying attention to. Previous highs of of last Friday was 59.30, 59.40. What did Shopify do at the end of day on Monday yesterday? It had a breakout of the previous day highs. It pulled back. It never pulled back below the previous day highs. You can see we pulled back. We held that previous day high right here, and that kept me in the trade. As long as a stock is turning previous day highs into new support, that is an uptrend, that is bullish, and we just have to read the technicals and trust the technicals. Today, you guys can see we had a very nice gap up in the after hours in the pre-market. What happened at open? We had a very aggressive sell-off at open. But what did Shopify do that kept me in the position and actually caused me to add to this position for some next week contracts? It was the fact that Shopify held the previous day high just like it did from the Friday high. It held the Monday high as well. If I zoom into the 5-minute chart, you guys can see previous day high, that's Monday's high. Look at the wick demand bounces off the previous day high here on Shopify. After seeing that, I solidified my reasoning to get into more calls. Seeing that hold of previous day highs was perfect, and I added some more next week calls here. You guys can see after holding that previous day high. We had a very nice grind to the upside. So what am I looking for tomorrow to maintain this position? Well, we're going to have to see where Shopify opens. Where does it open tomorrow morning? But absolutely, I will be watching this 64 level. I will be looking to see, does Shopify open above 64? And if it does open above 64, let's say we do something like this in the pre-market after hours. If we open above that 64, if there's any pullback tomorrow, if it maintains 64, then I am maintaining the position, right? As long as it holds above the previous day highs, I believe that Shopify remains in a strong uptrend, and this is how I am managing this position. Every single previous day high, I will continue to watch. Every day that goes on this stock, I will continue to watch where's the previous day high. Are we above it? Are we maintaining that level as a new demand? If so, I maintain my position. Now, if you guys are by chance in this Shopify trade with me, I just wanted to quickly point out some levels that are going to be very important here before we get the ultimate breakout towards 70. The first one is absolutely 64 tomorrow. 64 is huge tomorrow. 64 is this major wick rejection here back on Monday of the 22nd of May. We had a nasty rejection of 64 here that caused us to move all the way back down to 57. We are sitting right there as we speak in this video. Tomorrow, we need a break over 64. That is going to be a major key in whether I continue to maintain this position. If we get a break above 64, I think this unleashes a pretty nasty move up towards around that 65.50. That would be the next target. If we break above this 65.50, there is nothing more until that 70 area, in my opinion. 70.80. If we break above this previous high on the weekly, I'll go ahead and delete this, make this a little bit more clear. The weekly high of this candle right here is that 65.54. If we break above that high at 65.54, then I think you have your continuation towards that ultimate goal of around this 75.80 area. We'll see what happens, but that is my Shopify trade. That is why I'm maintaining it. Previous day highs continuing to act as new demand, right? You guys can see it right here. Break, retest, break, retest, break, retest. We continue to do that. As long as we continue to do that, I continue to hold, and that is how I'm managing this position, and that is how I'm up over $11,000 on this trade, just letting it run, letting the market run, keeping belief in this setup in the technicals. That's my Shopify trade. I hope you guys learned something from this video, how to maintain a swing trade, technicals to watch to maintain something like this. Also, pay attention to those weekly bull flags. They're happening quite often. Tesla, AMD, TSM, it happened. The Shopify trade might still have more as well. Keep an eye out for those multi-week pullbacks into retest levels, potentially setting up some juicy swing trades. If you learned something from today's video, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.